my name is Ashley Collins, aka the Onto Dragons. Welcome to my YouTube channel, The Breakup Diaries. So right now, present tense, I'm working in a restaurant, and I work with some very unmotivated individuals. Their behavior is coddled by the managers. But my history in restaurants is I'm very much pretty much hazed. I've worked in restaurants where like you're not allowed to lean. You have to find something to do because if you lean, the manager will find something for you to clean, right? Also, I've worked in some very high volume restaurants, right? Where it's like the rush will hit you out of nowhere, and the last thing that you want to do is run out of ice. You don't want to run out of tea. The last thing you want to do is have to cut lemons in the middle of a rush, because like that's taking time away from your tables, that's taking your time away from the guest. You know what I'm saying? So at work, I've only been there for like a month, I think. But at work, I'm like a constant like machine where it's like I'm doing something. But as a result, I found myself getting very bitter. Because it's like the same three people who are doing everything. And it's like, I don't want to have to do your job, you know? So I went into work on Friday after watching a video about boredom. And I told myself, I'm going to allow myself to be bored at work today. I'm not going to find something to do. I'm just going to sit and be bored and do my job and not anyone else's. Okay? And that also included not being on my cell phone, because I found that I have a very good/bad habit, because I'm very slow. I'm very slow when it comes to replying to messages. I have like emails that I need to reply to right now, as a matter of fact. But at work, I've developed this habit of just reaching for my phone and just mindlessly scrolling, and I don't like that. I don't want to do that. So I let myself be bored at work. And at first I was very agitated, right? I was very restless. I was like, I have to do something. Like I can be bored and roll silverware at the same time, I can be bored and do some other kind of mindless activity. But no, or I can be bored and I can meditate at the same time. I was like, no, stop. Just sit here and enjoy the AC, what little AC that there is in the restaurant. And I felt it. I felt the breeze. We have a fish tank at my job, and I looked at the fish, and I just looked at the sun, and I was like, wow, Florida is kind of pretty. So there are benefits of, okay, what are the benefits of being bored? I think that there's a difference between being bored and being lazy, right? Being lazy is you're procrastinating. Being lazy is you know that there's something that you should be doing, but you're just putting it off. As opposed to being bored, where you're all caught up. You're all caught up, but you're just finding you're searching for something to do, right? You're bored because your mind is telling you that we could be doing something else more productive with our time, but I don't want to do it. Not right now. I think that we confuse boredom with being aimless, whereas your mind needs that time to wander. Actually, being bored, you come up with your most best ideas. Being bored, you come up with the most you come up with the most creative ideas when you're bored. They did this study. I'm sure you've heard this study before, so forgive me if I'm saying it again. But they did this study where they had these people read a phone book. An actual phone book. When's the last time you saw a phone book, right? They had them read a phone book and write down the phone numbers and the names, and then they gave them an exercise that had involved with cups, and they asked them to do something creative with the cups, and they were so creative with that. And I think that we should allow ourselves the time to sit down and do absolutely nothing. Don't think about what you have to do tomorrow. Don't think about, okay, well, I can be bored and watch TV, or I can be bored and fold laundry. Just sit down. Just sit down and allow yourself to be restless. That way your mind can search for whatever you need to particularly do with your life, right? I think that with social media, your mind is constantly working, right? Your mind is constantly doing something. So your mind is never at rest. And you wonder why you're so anxious. Because you're not the Energizer Bunny, Like your mind needs that time to reset and recharge. Okay? So so like I was saying, with as when you're on your phone, you're still constantly thinking, and then even when you're sleeping, you're thinking because your mind is dreaming. Your mind is reassessing and giving you hints of what you need to do with your life, but you won't take that time to sit down and be bored. You know, um, 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 because your mind. Okay, okay. So your mind wandering. It's called the default mode network. Did I say that right? Yeah, I did. It's called. I'm already sweating. Gosh, I was sweating in the shower. I was like, well, how is that possible? But okay, yeah. So while your mind is wandering, it's called the default mode network. Who's here? My aunt. Fantastic. And what your mind is doing is your mind is assessing, and it's in a way it's kind of like I guess I'm gonna use like a computer or a video game. Your mind is reloading, right? Like the video game needs that time to say, okay, here's the next part of the storyline. you know and if you don't give yourself that time, if you don't give yourself that time of boredom, your mind doesn't. It's in constant survival mode, as opposed to reassessing what you've already done, right? Um, 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 you're making your mind unnatural because it's natural for your mind to want to discover. What else? What else? What else? I think if we look at boredom as a red flag that you're not in alignment with your path. You're not doing what excites you. But I think that we're overthinking purpose, right? It's like we're always so desperate, constantly looking for ourselves. But you're not lost. You're right here. Look at yourself in the mirror. You're here. So give yourself that time to be bored and to actually not think. Allow that default mode network to help you, you know because that's what it's there for. That's what it's there to do. you know um you get your best ideas when you're not thinking about anything. And people who aren't comfortable with themselves, people who lack self-identity, are bored. And now I want to transition and talk to you a little bit more about, hypocritically, I want to talk to you a little more about social media and how we utilize it in order for us to not be bored. How we utilize it when we don't feel comfortable with ourselves, when we have to find something new, we have to hit that red button to buzz ourselves, to wake ourselves up, because you know how, like, when you're bored sometimes, like, you just get really tired, you know and it's not necessarily that you're tired. It's that you're, like I said, your body is resetting, it's reloading, it's uploading. Jesus, that's the word I was looking for. It's uploading. So I was watching this video with Theo Vaughn, gang. I was one of the guests at work. His name is Theo. I was like, oh, like Theo Vaughn, and he was like, no, more like Theodore Roosevelt. And I was like, oh, yeah, I sounded stupid just then. Sorry. But so the topic that Theo Vaughn was talking about was, should social media be regulated by the government? Here were my initial thoughts on that particular subject. It's not a new subject, obviously. Like, they've been talking about that since the beginning of social media. They took Mark Zuckerberg to court, My thoughts are, I think that there's a lot of people who are susceptible to influence. Hence, you have the title influencer, right? There's not a lot of people who have the discernment in order to make decisions for themselves. So they're looking to these influencers to make the decisions for them. They're looking to them to make the decisions for what they should wear, how they should feel, how Who should I be against today? Because we're more against people. We're more against movements as opposed to being with them. We're and I think that it's like when your parents give you an item. They give you a car, right? They give you a toy, and they say, okay, it's your responsibility to take care of this, and if you don't take care of it the right way, then I'm going to take it away from you. And a lot of people haven't been taking care of their social media the way that the, the way that they should. And at this point, I think my initial thought was, I think the government should step in because some people are not utilizing this correctly, and as a blowback, as an after effect, it's affecting other people's lives. You know, like I said, that was my initial thought. You know, you keep burning your hand on the stove, so now I'm going to put a lid over the stove so you can stop burning your hand. But here's the thing, now I'm still going to find a way to burn my hand. You know, someone put the regulating of social media like this for me. They said that social media is a private business, right? Facebook is a private business which owns Instagram, and I think they also own Twitter. Clubhouse is a privately owned business, and they're allowed to do their business the way that they want, you know. And if the government steps in, then that's an invasion of wanting. That's an invasion of even wanting to start a business, you know. Oh, I didn't mean to do that with my hair. Oh, that looks good too. I just really like my hair today. Despite the sun, I had to sleep in today. I I should have gotten up and went for a run or jumping rope, but I mean, after working 12-hour shifts the past 3 nights, I'm a little exhausted. But I had some great dreams. I had some great dreams. But but yeah, so these social media platforms are a private business and they're allowed to regulate it as they like. And we shouldn't need the government to step in every time something goes haywire, you know, because then there's no freedom in that, you know. Yeah, you lose your free will when you ask the government to step in. So there was something introduced called the Smart Act. And the whole goal was to reduce the addiction of social media. And now I'm sure what you're thinking is, um, there's already regulations on alcohol. There's regulations on drugs, you know? So what should it matter if they step in and regulate social media as well? What they would do is they would reduce your screen time. They would also make a button that you would have to hit in order to continue scrolling. They would stop auto scroll as well, amongst other things. I didn't read the whole entire thing, but as with any addiction, they're gonna find a way to do it anyway. So, like I said, that you're handing out your free will. If you ask the government, hey, step in because this person is bullying me, then stop. Don't look at it. Keep scrolling. You know, you can't get upset because Robot 659 is saying something to you, and that's why I said, like, you need the discernment, you need the discipline, or if not, it's your job to take it away from yourself, not the government to step in and do that for you. You know, this stuff is it's all simply merely entertainment. Now, another thing, the spread of fake news. Fake news is nothing new. The fake news resulted in the war between the Spanish American War. Did I say that? Did I say that right? The Spanish American War? You know. That it resulted in that, you know. Fake news resulted in like the illness of Michael Jackson. So fake news is nothing new. It's just more, it just gets out faster. So now another thought that I had was, there's so much spread of misinformation that you don't really know what the facts are anymore. All they are is just opinions, right? I feel this way, or I got this source from this source, so this is, how do I know this is actually factual? Because it feels right. Your feelings Your feelings are contributing to potential wars. Your feelings are contributing to someone believing you, which I guess is the goal, right? You need people to believe you. And if I make it really pretty, or if I sound really angry and really passionate, I will have people who will follow me. And don't you see? Don't you see what they're doing? They're relying on you to want to be angry. They're relying on you to want to be sad in order for you to keep coming. Influence. Someone said that my initial thoughts were a bit communist, and I was like, oh my god, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. But so when it comes to being kicked off of social media for a certain period of time because you said something that might have triggered someone, like I said, the private businesses have their own regulations. They have their own rules. A store is allowed to kick you out and refuse service to you. If you go in acting like a hot mess in Applebee's, the manager is allowed to kick you out. So if you go in and you act like a hot mess on Twitter, they're allowed to kick you out. Simple as that. There are rules. There's an unspoken social contract. And someone was saying how I'm a bit biased because of my Western views and my Christian views as well. Growing up Christian, I'm a bit biased because I think that my rules are pretty simple. Treat others the way that you want to be treated. Don't say things that you wouldn't want said to you. Like, those are my values that I live by. But other people don't live by those values. Other people have other goals, that unfortunately result in manipulating people. So what I want to do is I want to understand them better. Some people's whatever, I don't care. some people's opinions are more important because they have 1 million likes, right? Well, as opposed to your like, which is empty. But just because you have an opinion does not mean that you're intelligent. Just because you have 1 million likes doesn't mean that you're important. Just because you state a random fact that happened years ago doesn't make you the smartest person in the room. That just means you have a good memory, which means your memory works, which is good. That was really mean. Sorry. One second. I know that it's trendy to want to be an influencer, to want to be a social media strategist, to want to be a life coach, right? I feel like no one wants to work. There's a huge lull in the restaurant industry where no one wants to work anymore, which for very good reasons in Florida, because minimum wage is shit and people aren't tipping again. But there are small businesses who are going to go out of business because no one wants to work for them. Everyone just wants to work from home. Everyone just wants to work from their cell phone. I think that's kind of, I mean, everything is transitioning to working from home anyway, though, right? Everywhere is transitioning where you literally don't have to leave your house anymore. You can work from home. You can have your groceries delivered. You can, at this point, I'm sure you'll have someone bring gas to your house, So what's the incentive for me to go to school and want to be a doctor? What's the incentive for me to want to enlist? What's the incentive for me to want to be a police officer? Everyone hates them anyway, All these platforms are about wanting to be rich and famous and bragging about how much money that you have. But there is very little transparency. It's all just rose tinted glasses. It's all fake gold. But fake gold is valuable too. So how do you teach discernment? How do you teach discipline? How do you teach someone the difference between this is real, this is fake, this is entertainment, this is not? By realizing that these echoes, these people with very loud voices online, they're just mockingbirds. They're just echoing what someone else is saying. We may not all be in the same circus, but there's always the same clown. And that's all I have to say about that. Do I think the government should regulate social media? Nah. I think that eventually, as with other things, we'll get bored and we'll find something else to bond off of mutual hatred, which is unfortunate. I'm very pro free will, though. And I'm very pro thinking for yourself. So just think about that as I'm literally just thinking out loud. Don't listen, pay no attention to the girl in her bra. That's it. Okay, bye.